topic that a lot of people have asked me to cover, and that is, how much does a horse cost? So the first thing that I'll say is one of the most common things that I hear in the horse community is, if you can't afford to buy the horse, then you can't afford to keep it. I feel like this is a really exaggerated misconception. I'm not always in the financial position to drop several $1,000s at once. Typically, I'm capable of providing enough income to supplement payments and just to pay for monthly expenses, but when it comes right down to shelling out a huge bulk of money, that is something that I constantly have always struggled with. So if you're like me, and a lot of people are, you don't have $2,000 to $5,000 laying around to shell out on a brand new horse. I definitely understand and empathize with everybody who's like, well, I don't have the money to buy a horse, but I do have the monthly income to be able to provide for one and take care of one. In regards to that old saying, if you can't afford the horse, you can't afford to take care of it, I really disagree with that. The overall cost of a horse really is not that much in the grand scheme of things. Let's jump into the overall cost of owning a horse. Your initial investment is going to be buying the horse itself. And just for a generalization, I'm going to say that you'll probably be spending anywhere from $1,500 all the way up to about $6,000. Again, this is just an overview generalization of what it's typically going to cost you to buy a quality horse that's healthy, sound, of a good, reasonable age, and also that has reasonable training. I think it's really important not to cheap out on buying a horse simply because you can't save up the money for it, because the cheaper you go with the horses, the more problems you're going to encounter. Some people are generous enough to do a lease-to-own option, or even sometimes a payment layaway system, but that's usually not typical, and most sellers are going to want cash up front for the horse. Before beginning your horse search, you should really have your cash in hand, because most of the good quality horses that people are going to be selling are going to get snatched up like that, so it's usually pretty disheartening when you find the perfect horse but you don't have the cash ready to buy it. Believe me, I've had my heart broken so many times shopping outside of my budget and also shopping before I even have the money ready. If you're in the unique financial situation where you're extremely comfortable and you're able to have multiple hobbies, multiple horses, and multiple bills, that is awesome. But for the majority of us, especially those of us who are considering the cost of buying a horse, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be a little tighter in the wallet every single month and looking for ways to save money in order to meet the financial responsibility of owning your own horse. For the majority of us, we are going to have to board our horse somewhere other than our place of residence. So the main cost that you're looking at for your horse every single month is going to be the feed and the board. You're going to need to consider where you would like to board it. So boarding your horse entails where you're going to be keeping it, and most boarding facilities range from full service board and care with amenities to the medium range where it's board and care with no amenities, or all the way to the bottom price range with hardly any amenities and zero care. You're really on a budget with your horse and you're freelance, part-time, you have a lot of bills, etc., you're probably going to want to try to find the cheapest boarding alternative that you possibly can. This would be something like a boarding facility that you clean your own stalls, you purchase and you throw your own hay, provide your own water buckets, and also take care of your horse on a daily basis. The average cost to provide feed and hay for your horse every single month is going to be around $150. So this should be somewhere close to your home that's easily accessible, that's not too far of a drive, so that you can visit your horse every single day. Remember, you're going to need to feed and water the horse at least twice a day, and you should allot time for stall cleaning and maintenance at least once a day. So the lower end of the boarding option that you would probably encounter is around $150 a month. If you're the kind of person that doesn't want to drive back and forth every single day, you have a full-time job, you have a family, or you just simply can't get out there to your horse all the time, then you're definitely going to go with a full-service boarding option, which would include either them cleaning stalls for you, throwing hay for you, and even providing feed for you. Depending on the amenities of the barn, you're looking at that cost anywhere from $250 to $650 on a typical average of what it's going to cost for a full care boarding facility. With a full care boarding facility, this is going to include either a stall or a pasture turnout, some kind of amenities on the property such as a riding arena, round pens, or some kind of turnout that you can ride in. It's also typically going to include feed twice a day, and they will feed for you and clean your stall. Variable in that price point depends on the location of the barn in addition to the amenities of the barn. Does it have an arena? Does it have jumping obstacles? Does it have round pens? Does it have wash racks? Does it have tack rooms? Is it conveniently located near trails? Are there a lot of people there to ride with? Different things like that are going to factor into the barn's individual pricing per stall for a horse each month. The next cost that you're going to want to consider is the farrier work. And that is either going to be leaving your horse barefoot but having it trimmed, or adding shoes onto your horse. That's all up to your personal preference and how you're using the horse and what's going to be best for them. About every 8 to 10 weeks, you're going to need farrier maintenance on your horse's hooves. Most farrier rates are typically $120 for a full set of shoes, or around $40 to $50 for a barefoot trim. Now then, let's factor in the cost of veterinary care. This is something that a lot of people really stress out about and think, I just can't afford it. The veterinary care is so outrageous. Yes, it is absolutely outrageous, and you should always be putting a little bit of money into savings for any extreme emergency. However, I will say this, horses are very hardy, and typically any injuries or illnesses that they sustain can be treated by the owner. I rarely have the vet out to see my horses except maybe to float teeth maybe once every 3 years, which is usually a cost of around $150, as well as yearly vaccinations, which would probably cost you about $80. So it really is not that much, and it's typically just an annual investment. I think a lot of beginners to the equestrian community labor under the delusion that it's common to buy new tack, and I can personally tell you, I have never bought a new saddle ever in my life. You can search on Craigslist for brands that you like, do your research, and find the right size that fits you, your horse, as well as a brand that you're going to be comfortable with, and just look it up on Craigslist. You can usually find amazing deals. For Western saddles, I'll just cover that briefly because I don't really know much about English tack. For a Western saddle, you're probably looking at anywhere between $200 and $2,000 for a used saddle, depending on the brand, the quality, the type of saddle that you want to buy, and also the condition of the saddle. Here is one of my bridles. This is a Martin headstall, which is my absolute favorite. The headstall itself cost me $90. The reins that I have on it cost me $60. The bit that I have on it cost me $30. And the chain that I have on it cost me $10. So that's just a basic general idea of a sort of middle range of tack that you can buy as a bridle. Now, in juxtaposition to that more expensive bridle, we have this one. So the headstall itself cost me $15. These reins cost me $20. This bit cost me $10, and this chain cost me $4. Some more tack expenditures include grooming supplies. You're probably going to want to have a good body grooming brush, as well as a mane and tail brush. A couple good curry combs are awesome to get dirt from underneath the fur and also during bath time, as well as the essential hoof pick that you'll want to be using each time you ride your horse. All of these products are generally going to run anywhere from $5 to $10 each. So I would say as a total generalization for all of the Western tack that you're going to need to ride your horse and enjoy your horse, including the saddle, bridle, saddle pad, leg protection gear, and your grooming supplies, you're going to be spending an average of $1,000 on all that tack. You can definitely go a lot cheaper with those things and certainly buy things as you can, but if you're looking for quality items, that's what it's going to cost you for sort of an entire set of tack that you'll need. Now, of course, the lower end of that spectrum would probably run you anywhere from $500 to $600. So if you really are tight on a budget, you can sort of skimp on the quality of items to make it work for you. Tack is really easy. You can get as crazy or as modest as you want with it. So the final cost that you're going to want to factor into your horse monthly expenses are your supplement necessities. These include things like wormers, hoof and gut supplements, as well as psyllium pellets that you would want to be feeding your horse every single month. Psyllium pellets usually cost about $15 to $20 and will last you on average anywhere from 30 to 60 days. Hoof and coat supplements can cost anywhere from $25 to $60 and will typically last you 30 to 60 days as well. And then there are your wormers and digestive aids, which can range anywhere from the $5 range all the way up into the hundreds of dollars. So if you're thinking about purchasing a horse and you're not certain whether or not you have the financial flexibility to do so, start by writing it down. Get a notebook, log all of your monthly expenses, log all of your monthly income earnings, and log all of your projected costs for your horse. This is going to be the best tool in helping you understand what your financial priorities are, as well as your financial stability for being able to provide responsible care for your horse every single month. Just to give you an idea, I've written down my monthly costs for owning a horse. At the very top, I've factored in buying the horse, and my typical budget for that is $2,500. For me, I don't pay anything in boarding, as I'm able to provide a stall for my horse on my property, in addition to feeding them myself and cleaning their stall. However, as a result of that, I do have to purchase and provide my own feed, which costs me an average of $150 a month per horse. For the shoes, I've divided it into 2 months, since that's typically when I have my horse shod, is every other month. So dividing that between 2 months, that would be $60. I very rarely have the vet out to do any care, so as a monthly cost, I've put that at $0. And my tack cost, because I'm sort of a tack junkie, I did put at $100. And that's sort of a high end of the spectrum. Generally, I don't spend that much per month on tack. And supplements, I spend about $60 on my 30-day supply of gut supplements as well as psyllium pellets. So per month for one horse, I am spending about $370 on average. The annual cost for one horse, of course my boarding being $0, the shoes are going to come to $720 a year. The feed is $1,800. Veterinary care, which would just be my general vaccinations and maybe some antibiotics for colds in the wintertime, are about $200. Tack, I probably spend right around $900 a year on at the very most, and on average probably less than that, but I'm just kind of exaggerating. And then my supplements, about $720. So per year for just the care of one horse, I am spending on average $4,340. So I hope this video was helpful in deciding whether or not you have the financial stability and resources to own your own horse, and gave you a general idea of what it's going to cost to own a horse per month and per year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.